Welcome to another episode of Chew on This with Devra and Ray. I'm Ray.
And I'm Devra. So your best life begins with a healthy mind and a healthy body and a healthy spirit. And so we want to inspire you to live in happiness and health. So on our show, we're going to explore simple changes that you can make in what you consume, what you do, what you think, because everything can lead to optimal health. And our topics might be food centered, or they might be food, your favorite, food for thought. Might be whatever. But whatever the topic is, what we hope to leave you with something every week to chew on, every month. We're still monthly, so every month something to chew on. And so we're happy to be with you again. We are in our new studio still at HMPE, and we're excited to be here. And how are you today?
I'm doing wonderful. It's spring.
Today it's spring.
Today is spring.
Last week it was winter.
And yeah, we had snow and all kinds of good stuff. And
yeah, you guys, for you that don't live in Las Vegas, where am I, Scott? For those of you who don't live in Las Vegas, you probably saw it in the news. We had snow last week. Not just a little bit of snow. We had a lot of snow.
We did.
Yeah. And my daughter lives in Wisconsin, and so she was kind of calling us babies, being all excited because they have snow to here, you know, whatever. I don't want snow to here. That's why I live in Las Vegas, so we can really get excited about the little bit of snow that we have.
So we can look at the mountain and say, oh, there's snow up there.
Yeah. So it's kind of springish weather today, and I wore a sweater, and I thought, well, this might be the last time I get to wear it, so
yeah,
I wore a sweater.
So last month, we talked about books that we were reading and stuff. But I think we're going to talk more about the book that I really like, that I've read a couple of times, and it's this one.
You got to pick the topic today.
Yes. And so we're gonna read a little bit and talk about it a little bit and have fun with it.
So you know when I went to a friend, Ruth Furman, was doing something recently on shameless self-promotion, and I spent most of my life promoting other people, and so I can get uncomfortable with the self-promotion. But for me, is what I remember is this book is not about me. It's about you, and it's about having a better life by the choices that you make. And so it's one of those, you know, there's times in life that we have to get ourselves out of the way so that the message can be heard. And so I'm really proud of this book and proud of the content, and I really do believe that it can be transformational for people.
Yep.
And so he talked me into talking about the book today. So. And
a couple of other, one of our favorite things are our poop.
These are a gift from my friend Michelle Hausbeck, and she has a show coming up on her Facebook soon called Sticks and Stones. And so thank you, Michelle, for the
cheers.
Cheers. For the poop emoji cups. And so it's kind of weird drinking out of a poop cup.
So anyway, the shirt also says that. It says, if you go the correct way, and that goes eat, sleep.
Wait, we got to stop. You notice he said, if we go the correct way. So you got to follow the directions of the shirt. So if you read it the correct way.
Okay.
Eat, sleep, poop. Right?
Which
all important for life. If you read it backwards, it kind of says, hey, dude.
So babies get it right. They eat, they sleep, and they poop.
They do.
And that's natural.
They do.
So
we're not going to spend our whole show talking about poop. But for those of you who know me, you know that I really believe it's vitally important for us to poop once a day, if not 3 times a day. Like Ray said, what goes in must come out. Like we see that from babies. So here's to healthy poop.
Yes.
So. Where would you like to go from here?
Maybe read a couple of excerpts.
Excerpts? Oh. I think that might be boring for our audience. Hey, if you're watching, say hi. Oh, all those just popped in.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to try to do a little bit better this time around of looking at the Facebook things, because it's hard to look at the camera and him and Facebook.
And it's so small.
But we would love for you to put some questions in. I brought the what's this called?
The computer?
The computer.
So we got Kevin and Juliet and Edward and Joanne and Michelle.
Yeah. Yay, Michelle. Aren't they cute? They look pretty good on camera, don't they? Where's the camera?
Yeah.
Scott's going to get me trained sooner or later.
We're over here.
Okay. So, what particularly would you like to hear today?
Talking about our folks or me?
So, I'll read this one paragraph. So, we get one body. One. We don't get to do a do-over. We can steward our money, our time, and our resources poorly or wisely. But if we don't become good stewards of the one body in which we dwell, in which we live in which we go and have fun in, then money and time and resources will be the least of our concerns. So this book is actually a result of 12 years of reading and learning and digesting information. And I'm still on that journey. Every day I learn something new about health and what prevents me from achieving optimal health. But you can't be complacent, right? You have to keep on keeping on learning, because there's so many exciting discoveries they're making with health, and especially around the microbiome and epigenetics. Epigenetics it's like, you have your genes, but then lifestyle and behavior also play a role in how those genes are expressed. And so there's so much information coming out about that you don't have to be tied to your genetic code. You have power to change that. And that's what I want to help people get when they read this book.
Excellent. So I'm not as well versed as you are in speaking, however, so I was going to read it. So that way.
But you charm people.
Yeah.
He's the charmer.
So anyway, I'm going to read just a couple of paragraphs. Trust me, they're short, and I'm going to do my best to read them all right. And here goes. All too often in our society, symptoms are accepted as normal. Acceptance sounds like I'm getting older. I guess I should expect to get, and you fill in the blank. Disease is inevitable. I will die of something. Some even question.
That's true.
Yeah, it is. Some even question if this illness is a punishment. Some people say, what did I do to deserve this? What if sickness and disease are conditions of living in an imperfect world? What if the diagnosis is a result of personal lifestyle choices?
Can I just stop you right
Sure.
there? That was really a hard one for me, because it is easy to say, why did I get this, or to blame it on the genetic code or whatever. But when it became perfectly clear to me that it was all about lifestyle choices, that was a big aha for me. Because if I had the power, if lifestyle choices could lead to disease, then certainly lifestyle choices could lead to health.
Yep.
Right. But it was a hard one for me to accept that some of the illnesses that I had had and still struggle with are lie in my hands.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So anyway, and it says, what if the diagnosis is a result of personal lifestyle choices? Easy for you to say. For instance, when they say, I bet you can't eat just one. And people eat a whole bag of something, which is probably not good for them. So that's where that goes in, at least in my point of view.
You resemble that remark.
Yeah, I resemble that remark.
Yeah.
What if the quality of food, air, and water are the culprits? Taking responsibility for your health doesn't mean you'll avoid illness. There are too many factors that can affect the overall quality of your health. Even people who appear healthy, eat well, exercise, etc., get cancer. So she goes on to say that death is inevitable. I'm not going to get out of this world alive. And she says, I'm more concerned with the quality of life while we're still living. I wonder if aches and pains and illnesses have to be inevitable. Do they? People say, I want to feed the homeless, or travel, or play golf, or whatever they want to do. But I can't because my back hurts, or my stomach hurts, or I have migraines, or my joints hurt. They just hurt. Or I just can't get enough sleep, or I have cancer, even though we hate cancer and everything else from acne to reflux, joint pains, autism, ADHD, diabetes, autoimmune disease, and allergies. Boy, there's a lot of stuff in here. We continue to accept them as normal or inevitable. It seems that we have come to expect and accept these diseases as a normal part of living. What if that need not be true? What if normal isn't necessarily natural? What if what we consider normal is actually abnormal? I think it's well said in the book.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
It's your turn.
It's my turn.
Yeah.
It says we have 5 comments, but oh look.
Helps
Hey, Mom. Daddy wore your shirt. That's Lindsay.
I see that.
Oh, Michelle, they do. I love my cups. Anyway, so throughout my life, many people who know me, we struggled with pregnancies. We had 4 miscarriages. We lost a baby in childbirth. Ray is actually a survivor of prostate cancer. My daughter's a survivor of cancer. Both of my parents died prematurely of lifestyle diseases, what we know now to be lifestyle diseases. And time after time, I can remember crying with friends and family, and too many people who had life-altering or life-ending diagnoses for themselves or for a loved one. And someone asked me one time, why did I write the book? And I think that's why, because sometimes we come, like you said, we come to expect, and too many people are dying, and we can't get out of this world alive. That's a given. And people say, well, I have to die of something. But it's true, we will die of something. But what if we could live the best life possible while we were still here on the earth, so that we can go out and do all those things that God created us to do? So as a result of all those things that I experienced in my life, I got really curious. And so I started researching and studying, and the more I learned, the more questions I got. And I'm not reading this verbatim right now, but it's kind of like a synopsis of an introduction for why I wrote the book. But this is part I want to read real quick. These are some of the things that I wonder about. And the United States is the wealthiest country. We have advanced medical knowledge, and yet many people in the United States are malnourished and obese at the same time. And a multitude of diseases that affect human life are on the rise. And I wonder why. Don't you wonder why?
I wonder why often.
Do you guys wonder why? So here are a few things that I wonder about. I wonder why food-like substances created in a lab and void of any nutritional value is sold as food. I wonder why toxins such as mercury and fluoride and glyphosate are allowed to be flooded into our bodies and into our environment. I wonder why food dyes and other additives that increasingly show harm and behavior change still show up in food, especially to food targeted to children. I wonder why some companies manufacture and distribute foods without genetically modified organisms, GMOs, to other countries that have higher standards than we do, the United States, yet they market those same products genetically modified here in our country. And is it because we're complacent and we don't pay attention? I wonder why that is. I wonder why companies spend millions and millions of dollars to prevent labeling laws if there's really no problem with GMOs. I'm still looking for an answer to that.
Yeah, I don't get it.
And I wondered why, despite the U.S. having the most advanced healthcare system in the world, infectious diseases have been replaced by a rise in degenerative or lifestyle diseases. So we aren't dying later, really, but we're dying longer. So it takes, we're sick a long time before we die sometimes. So all that wondering really stirred my desire. And here are a few things that I learned along the way. What I thought I knew about health and what I didn't know were killing me. I was misinformed and I was ignorant. God created this body as a magnificent machine, right? It's capable of healing itself when it's given the proper care and feeding. right? We can't keep putting garbage into it and expect it to heal itself. Chronic diseases are lifestyle diseases. We have the power in our behaviors to change. In many cases, I'm not saying in every case, but we have the power to make a difference in our own health. And that's really the message I want people to hear, is you have the power to create better health in your life. And gut health, that's one of my favorite topics, is gut health plays a vital role in overall health. And there's so many amazing things coming out to teach us more about that. But what I eat, what I don't eat, how I move, how I don't move, how I manage stress, how I don't manage stress, how much I sleep or don't sleep, all those things play a role in gut health. And so part of this book, let me see. One of the things I want to encourage you is if you don't take time to understand how to create a healthier you, you'll likely have time to deal with the consequences of an unhealthier you. And that's what I had to really learn for myself. So 12 years ago, I was 50 pounds heavier. I had chronic bronchitis 3 to 4 times a year. I had a seizure disorder that I was on medication for. My immune system was really shot. If somebody walked by and sneezed, I took that home and nursed it for a little while. And I had high blood pressure. I was on high blood pressure medication. I was really sick.
Speaking of that, especially with the seizure disorders, you lost your license. And so all of a sudden, I'd come home from work and it was, hey, it's time to go, because people don't realize that when you're sick, how much it affects other people. Yeah. And even the small things, if you've got a headache, you don't feel like talking to your spouse or whatever happens to be in your life. Oh, you got a migraine, you got to be in the dark, or it always affects somebody else if you're sick. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it affects many people.
It is. It doesn't affect you. And in just a minute, I want to talk a little bit about how that really trickles down beyond your current family. We'll talk about just a minute. But it does. Illness doesn't just affect you. Just think of all the caregivers that are out there. Personally, that it's a family illness when someone's diagnosed. What?
I like the part where a dad comes back and says, "Oh, I caught this from my child." Stop sharing things, especially colds and flus and everything else. People like to share things. That's one thing you don't want to share.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that you can have all the information in the world that you want, but if you don't do something without information, there's no transformation. So as part of the book, it's designed as a toolkit, and what am I trying to say?
I don't know. Read it and comply, or
okay. So part of the toolkit. So in many cases, it's going to tell you a little bit about the condition, but there's also going to be questions in the back, like your current lifestyle. What is your current reality around that topic? And then what are the changes that you want to commit to in your life to make that transformation possible? And so some of the topics, somebody asked me the other day, well, what are some of the topics? And I talked a little bit about genetics, because I know for myself and for you, we spend a lot of our life thinking that because my parents had diabetes and heart disease, or your parents had Parkinson's or heart disease, that we were just kind of stuck following that path, and it's not really that simple. But we talk about sugar. One of my favorite titles is "Hand Over the Donut and Nobody Gets Hurt."
That was me. A long time ago.
Get off the diet roller coaster. I think I can contribute a lot of my unhealthy weight gain to all the diets that I've been on in my life. Mm-hmm. It's like, what's food got to do with it? I think so often from the conversations I've had with people and my own understanding is I never connected the food on my plate to the illnesses that I had. And so we talk a little bit about that in the book, talk about your digestive tract and how it works, and how to clean it up. We talk a little bit about those bacteria that are vital to your overall health. Exercise, sleep, eating clean. What does that even mean, to eat clean? You know, I'm not talking about washing your plates between usages, but what does it mean to eat clean, and how can you do that to most effectively impact your health? And we talk about coffee, you know. For those of us who have a coffee addiction, is coffee good for you or is it bad for you? Is sugar good for you or is it bad for you? Is salt good for you or is it bad for you? I write about that in the book so you can discern for yourself.
I was just going to say, some people got to get up. They get up and say, "Where's my coffee? Give me coffee. Give me coffee." I wonder who that is, Miss Lindsay.
You're not throwing her under the bus, are you? She openly acknowledges that. I have several friends who openly acknowledge that, so it's okay. But obesity, it's an epidemic and it's on the rise. And there's some surprising reasons why that might be true. And we talk a little bit about that in the book. We talk about even cleaning up your environment and why that's important to your health, why forgiveness is important to your health, stress, and then self-care.
Absolutely.
Self-care. Because if you don't take care of yourself, how are you possibly going to be able to take care of anybody else? But it goes a little bit deeper than that. Talk a little bit about supplements and final thoughts. But I personally learned so much in writing the book that I'm excited for people to read it and to learn and to transform their health with that. So someone asked me, what do I hope that people gain from reading this book? Well, better health for one, but you know, the name of the book came having a conversation with our friends Neil and Dorothy Portnoy, and the conversation was, well, what do you want? And I said, there's a sense of urgency. I want people to wake up and to create a better health. And we had talked about how to put health, and so to wake the health up. And it's about the urgency for each one of us to pay attention to what's going on in our food supply, in our air, our water, all those kind of things. And then, you know, there's so many experts on both sides of every field. How do you discern? How do you know what's what? It's really hard sometimes. Well, some of it I address in here, but other ways, you know, it really doesn't matter what expert says what, because how you eat for your body is going to help determine your health. How much sleep you get is going to help determine your health. How much you allow stress to get to you, or you let it go. All that it impacts. So the things that most experts agree on that can impact your health, I've written about in this book, because regardless of what experts say, there's some things that they all agree on. And part of it's right here on your shirt.
Yeah.
You know, eat, sleep, poop.
But some of that stuff is listen to your body too.
Listen to your body.
If I go out and I drink something that's real sugary and I feel real terrible afterwards, well, guess what? It wasn't very good for me. Same with donuts or anything else. You pick it and you eat it and it's bad news, well, your body will tell you. Or at least sometimes it's over time and then it's too late. But you can clean it up though.
And sometimes your body is, like for me, my body told me for years. I had a gallbladder attack and my body had been telling me for years. It had to have been, because when they went in and did the surgery, I had a gangrenous gallbladder. Now, how does that even happen, right? Without having some symptoms along the way. And so with my clients, I teach people how to start listening to your body, because all those little symptoms that we have are an indication of something going on wrong in the body, because headaches are not normal. I've even heard that ladies, PMS is not even normal. That's what we've come to accept as normal. But when our body is functioning properly and healthy, then those PMS symptoms kind of disappear.
Really?
Yeah. Wouldn't that make you excited?
Yeah. I don't think I need to go there though.
Yeah. I had a hysterectomy a lot of years ago. I was one of those people that, oh yeah, you said I don't need that body part. Go ahead and take it out.
It must have done something.
But you know what? If the body part is in your body, it has a purpose. And did you know that is there a body part that you can think of that people have said to you, oh, you don't really need that, you can take it out?
Oh yeah,
Like
appendix.
The appendix. Do you know that there's a purpose for the appendix?
What?
It's actually where it's located, it populates I think it's the small intestine with bacteria, healthy bacteria, so it helps the complete digestion.
Here's a body anatomy course, and that is you got your ascending colon, transverse colon, and the what's the last one?
Is that descending?
Descending colon. But your appendix is over there at your ascending colon, and it helps your body by putting in hormones and stuff. That's what I think, anyway.
So, I was going to read this one last thing.
Okay.
First, the quote from Mark Twain. The problem with the world is not that people know too little, but that they know so many things that aren't so. And I found that's true. That was really true in my perspective and with Ray, is so many things that we've heard about health, like, the whole thing about no fat. Take all the fat out of your system. Well, we now know that that's not a healthy piece of advice. Or my doctor advised me one time to drink Diet Coke. I think there's enough studies out there that most of us realize that Diet Coke is not healthy for us. So we know all these things that we think are healthy, but they're not really healthy.
Speaking of fat in your diet, the way I understand it is if you are eating fatty foods, which is a good thing, certain good kind of fats that helps your gallbladder to squeeze down and get rid of all the bile and stuff, and then it helps keep it clean. Otherwise, you're never using your stuff in your gallbladder, and that's the reason why it goes bad.
So what's a healthy fat?
Avocado, some coconut oil.
Coconut oil. Ghee.
Ghee, yeah.
Olive oil.
Grass-fed butter.
Olive oil.
Olive oil. There's some good healthy fats out there.
Some people may disagree about the grass-fed.
But you don't want to drink it by the gallons either.
No, you don't want to. Eating healthy fat does not mean go out and eat all the healthy fat you want. Anyway, it's your body. Love it or leave it. No one gets out of this life alive. Every one of us will die sooner or later. I prefer it to be later. Living here on earth or going home to glory are both a win. However, how you live, how we live, the quality of our life makes all the difference in the world. The body is a magnificently designed machine, and it will support you in living out your dreams for your life when it is properly cared for. And that's what I hope this book does for you, is help you properly take care of your body. I said we were going to talk a little bit about just our immediate family is affected. So when people read this, I would hesitate.
What are you trying to say?
I don't know. When I said I wanted people to get a sense of urgency out of reading this book, I also want people to get hope and encouragement out of this book. There's a lot of bad news out there about health, but there is hope and encouragement, and the choices that we individually make today can make a difference tomorrow and down the road.
We're winding down.
We are winding down. I also hope people gain an awareness that prevention is the best cure for disease. Don't wait till you get a diagnosis. Start today to make your body healthier. And most importantly, I want people to know that health is generational. We talked about epigenetics and genes, that, what we say, this is my body. It is your body, but what you feed your body gets passed down to generations. So that's how illnesses are sometimes created. Yes, we have the choice in how sometimes those genes are expressed, but your ancestors impacted your genes. Your choices play a role in the gene expression in your body, and your children, grandchildren, and grandchildren are or will be impacted by the choices that you make today. So make good choices.
Absolutely. And you realize today is March 4th?
March 4th.
So
before we go, thank you for being with us today. We're so happy that you joined us and you took time out of your busy day. And as we leave, we want to say to you, March 4th with joy. Bye.
See ya.